aka Geeks.
Hey everybody, welcome to AKA Geeks, and this is Real News. I'm Sean, you guys, your host for this show. Like I said last week, this is the spiritual successor to Movie Time. You want to come here to get all your movie news and what's going on in the movie world. Alright, so let's start off with the news. First topic, Super Troopers 2. When is it going to start filming? It started filming right meow. That's right, the guys at Broken Lizard have come out and on their website and told us that they actually just started filming. This is good news. I'm really happy about this, and a lot of you guys are, I'm sure. Super Troopers, the first one, is a really popular cult classic. And this one, Super Troopers 2, was crowdfunded, and I'm really looking forward to this one. They surpassed their goals, and I think they said in some of their goals, like, if we get to this certain amount, we'll add an explosion or something, or a nuclear device, or some outrageous, like, really cool options. Jay Chandrasekhar, the director from Super Troopers and Super Troopers 2, said in a comment on the website, "We've always wanted to make a sequel, but first we also wanted to run from killer on an island resort and chug beers against Germans. After that, we had to get permission from the studio, write an awesome script, and then wait for lawyers to schedule a shitload of conference calls." So as you can see, they are having fun with this. Even though it's been a while, they're having a good time trying to get this back on track and start filming to get the movie to us, the fans of Super Troopers. On to our next topic, you guys. A little bit of DCEU news. If you don't know, that's the DC Extended Universe. That's what they're calling their cinematic universe. Jeff Johns, now he's the boss of all bosses. He had an interview with Wall Street Journal. He announced a few things and said a few really interesting comments. First off, he announced that Deathstroke is going to be in the next Batman film, and it's going to be played by Joe Manganiello. You guys might remember him from True Blood, Magic Mike. I'm pretty sure in his credits on IMDb, it has him as Flash Thompson in the first original Spider-Man. So this is a pretty cool casting. I think it's a great role for him. He definitely can pull off that like level of action, and he also has that type of personality, or he's just that good of an actor, where he can be smooth and suave like in Magic Mike, or like in the movie, I think it was Sabotage with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he could be totally gruff and just like balls to the wall, I'm gonna kill you kind of dude. So I'm really interested in this casting. Also from the interview with Wall Street Journal, Jeff Johns also talked about how the DCEU is going to start changing a little bit of the pathway of where it's going and why it's so dark, and now how it's going to go into the light a little bit. To quote him, he said, "Mistakenly, in the past, I think the studio has said, oh, DC films are gritty and dark, and that's what makes them different. That couldn't be more wrong. It's a hopeful and optimistic view of life. Even Batman has a glimmer of that in him. If he didn't think he'd make tomorrow better, he'd stop." So also with this quote and with this direction, he said, they're also going to be less Zack Snyder-isms kind of thing, where he's going to focus more on the story at hand, and less so much on the stuff like the nightmare, the dreamscape stuff, and focus on the story at hand. So that's interesting, how they're going to change up their direction a little bit, but it's not going to be too overwhelming, I don't think. It's going to be nice to see if they get a little bit more control on the storyline and what they're doing going forward, and be a little bit happier. It doesn't have to be a dark, gritty film to be a good film. It can still be its own movie, its own universe, separate from Marvel and distinct from Marvel if they want to, if they make good quality movies. It doesn't have to be dark and gritty. And sticking with cinematic universes, let's go over to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Set photos have been released from Spider-Man Homecoming that reveal the Shocker is going to be in Spider-Man Homecoming. Now, it is the Shocker, not this Shocker. So keep your keep your wits about yourself. You guys, this is pretty cool. You also have Michael Keaton that's going to be playing the lead villain. Is this going to be his character? I don't know. There's also rumors that he's going to be the Vulture. You also have the Tinkerer in this one as well, played by Cal from Orange is the New Black. I forget his name off the top of my head. But a lot of people around the web have been, whoa, that's too many bad guys. It might not be too many bad guys. Maybe Shocker's in the first scene of the film. You never know. It could be one of them Rhino type of things in the beginning or at the end to bookend the movie. Sony is now teaming up with Marvel for this movie, so I hope that they show some restraint and follow the kind of like the code, the pattern, the outline that Marvel has set for them, and they can make this into a good quality film and it doesn't get overloaded like The Amazing Spider-Man 2 did. And sticking with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Avengers Infinity War is filming as we speak. And a set photo has been released. In this photo you can see Joe and Anthony Russo talking to Josh Brolin. He's in mocap, so they're doing some stuff where they're at least capturing mocap or doing something for Thanos' character, Josh Brolin's character. I'm happy just to see this, to know that it's in filming, that they're on their path to get this film to us. I'm looking forward to it, and I can't wait to see what Josh Brolin's going to bring to this character in more than a 10-second instance. Alright guys, and so the last bit of news is some big news for wrestling fans out there. A biopic has been greenlit for Chris Benoit and his life story. It's going to be based on the Matthew Randazzo book, Ring of Hell, the story of Chris Benoit and the fall of the pro wrestling industry. The title is an awesome callback to one of his finishing moves, the Crippler Crossface. I'm really excited about this. It's a tragic story when it comes down to it. It was a double murder and suicide when everything happened in 2007. He killed his child and his wife and then killed himself. But during the autopsy, it was later found out that his brain was severely damaged from all the concussions and things of that nature. And it was worse off than you thought. He had the brain of somebody in their 80s who had far progressed Alzheimer's. It's an interesting story. I can't wait to see what else they're gonna do with this, and I'm looking forward to this. So for you wrestling fans out there, one of the guys, a couple of the guys, Lynn and Eddie, are big wrestling fans. I definitely think that they'll enjoy this news and they'll be looking forward to this film, and I think you guys should be too as well. Alright guys, now let's move on to the in theaters segment. This week in theaters, you got a couple movies that caught my attention. First off, you have When the Bough Breaks. This movie looks like an updated version of the movie The Crush, starring Alicia Silverstone, and I always forget his name, but the guy from Robin Hood Men in Tights. It looks like it's gonna be interesting, to say the most. I don't have high hopes for this one. I do think it's gonna have a little niche audience, but it's not gonna be something that's gonna break the box office. But it is one of those movies that caught my attention. The other movie that's caught my attention, the one that I want to see this weekend, is Sully. He was the pilot of the plane that was taking off in New York, and he hit a flock of geese, and they had to make an emergency landing in the Hudson. This movie, the trailers show that there's a lot more to it than we knew as the general public, I guess you could say. I didn't know most of this stuff was going on when this all happened, and it was pretty recent, and so I don't know where this was in the news, but I just remember, all I remember was the good faith that everybody put in him. So this is pretty interesting to see that there's going to be more to that story. Alright guys, let's move on to the trailer segment for this week. First off, I want to give a couple shout outs to some trailers that I watched this week that are definitely worth checking out if you're into the dramas and that kind of films. First off, you have Gold, starring Matthew McConaughey. He's got, it's the McConaissance, you know what I mean? It's like he's coming back and he's been doing some solid projects, so check that one out. And then also The Promise, starring Oscar Isaac as well as Christian Bale, two Academy Award level actors. So that one also, it caught my attention. I don't know much about either film, and they both have their own flavor, but because of the actors in them, I definitely wanted to give those two shout outs. Alright, so now the three films that I want to focus on. First off is Headshot. This film is an Indonesian film. It's starring Iko Uwais. I'm probably saying that wrong. He's the lead actor from the movies The Raid and The Raid 2. If you haven't seen The Raid or The Raid 2, go see those movies. Those movies are awesome. Some of the best fight choreography I've seen in my life. I watched this trailer and I swear I got that same feeling from when I watched The Raid 2 a couple years back. It's just great choreography. It looks intense, it looks brutal, it looks gritty, and it looks violent. I'm really looking forward to this film. I can't wait till it comes to America, and I don't care if it's in subtitles or not. This movie looks awesome. Alright, the second trailer that caught my attention this week is Underworld Blood Wars. This one is of course starring Kate Beckinsale, and when Kate Beckinsale is wearing leather, you cannot deny that. This is something you guys gotta watch. I'm interested in seeing how the CGI and how they do the effects on the werewolves is going to change into this film, because it's been a few years. And also, last time I remember, whenever they did close-ups, the wolves looked terrible. So I want to see how they update that. And of course, they always have some pretty good action stuff in these films, so that one definitely caught my attention as well. The last trailer that caught my attention this week is called Free Fire. This is the Red Band trailer. At first, when this trailer's starting off, you kind of don't know what's going on, but as it gets further into it, it is awesome. It reminds me of a movie called Shoot 'Em Up, starring Clive Owen and Monica Bellucci. Trying to make money for baby Smith. This movie, not Shoot 'em Up. Shoot 'em Up was good, and this movie reminds me of Shoot 'em Up with the over-the-top type of gunfire that they have in this film. It definitely catches my attention. This one's starring Charlton Copley, great actor, I love him. Armie Hammer, he definitely has some charisma to him, and he definitely has a certain type of character he plays, so I like that. And Brie Larson, the wonderful, amazing Brie Larson from Sacramento, California, won an Academy Award in the movie Room last year. She won the Academy Award this year for the movie last year. I'm looking forward to this movie out of all the trailers that I saw today. I really, really enjoyed this trailer. I definitely think you guys should check it out. All these trailers, top notch. Go check them out. You guys will enjoy them. Alright guys, so that's it for this second episode of Real News. Remember to check back with us on our podcast, aka Geeks Podcast, on iTunes, Google Play, Spreaker. We always putting up stuff on our YouTube channel, which you're here. Go check us out on Twitter, Twitch, Facebook. That's the big one right there. We'll get all of our news and what we're doing over there to you guys on all those sites. But for this video, the second episode of Real News, remember to click the like, share, subscribe buttons down below. Leave your comments, questions, suggestions in the comment section. Let's have a great conversation about this episode today. Tell me what you liked, what you didn't like, what I need to change, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
aka Geeks.